A lot of people don't believe change for the better is possible for them. But I'm here to tell you, it absolutely is, if you believe and you dedicate yourself to it.
So Paul, one of my great heroes in Los Angeles is a guy named Father Greg Boyle. He's the gentleman who started Homeboy Industries. I think if LA has a saint, it would be Father Greg. And I had this really great opportunity. I was making a documentary film about income inequality, and I got an opportunity to interview him. And we were talking about sort of the challenge for gang members and other people who come from really impoverished neighborhoods to come out of it. And he said the biggest problem he saw with a lot of these folks, especially with gang members, was the failure of imagination, the failure of seeing a better life and not being able to see beyond their world. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's why a lot of people maybe get stuck and don't think they can change, is because they don't see life as it could be, but just as it is?
Absolutely. I mean, that's where it comes. You have to visualize and imagine things as you wish them to be, as opposed to seeing them as they are. It all starts in the mind first, before you can manifest it out there in the third dimensional world.
Right.
So you have to have that imagination, that ability to visualize. But even before that, you have to know what you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to dive inward to discover that.
How would people do that if they don't actually see it? How do you envision a goal, a dream, or something of taking you out of your reality into the world and life that you'd like to have?
If you've ever had a dream, you know, if you ever, as a child, I mean, I like people to revert back to their childhood, because every child has a vivid imagination, right, and they believe that anything is possible. Right. I mean, they see it on TV, they see it elsewhere, wherever they see it, so that's possible. I can do that, maybe. Right. And I think what happens is, if we get older, that dream goes away, right?
Kind of gets beaten out of some of us.
People laugh at us.
Right.
Tell us, are you kidding? You know, you're not going to play in the NBA, or you're not going to be a CEO, or you're not going to be an entrepreneur, or whatever it might be. Yeah. Or even smaller dreams. You can't do that. You're stuck here with the rest of us.
Who do you think you are? This is us. This is what we are down here.
And they're doing, you know why they're doing that is because they want you to validate what their life is like. Because the more people that are doing what they're doing, the better they're feeling about themselves. Right. They don't want to allow somebody else to be an outlier and go outside of the little group that they've created.
Yeah, I read a story somewhere about a guy who had risen to the next level, and when he went back and told his friends, they actually got in a fight over it, because his friends felt like he now thought he was too big for his britches. But it really wasn't that. It was the fact that they knew he was going to a place that they wished they'd gone to or could go to.
Jealousy.
Yeah.
That's all it was, jealousy. And they would have done it, I'm sure, if they could have, if they had the belief that they could have, if they had the grit, audacity to step outside the comfort zone, which is really what we're talking about here. The problem is, for change, you know, most people have to have something extreme happen to them. Yeah,
I'll give you a great story on subject of extreme. Caron Butler, it's one of my favorite sports stories. When Caron was a kid, he grew up in a really tough part of, I think it was Racine, Wisconsin, and started selling drugs when he was 12 years old. And was in prison at 15. When he got to prison, he was still kind of in that mentality. There's a great book that he wrote called Tough Juice that I highly encourage people to read. And in that story, he talks about when he went to prison, all he really learned was how to become a better criminal. So he didn't quite hit that rock bottom yet, right? But he got thrown into solitary confinement. And in, I think, a week or two of solitary confinement is when he hit his low. That is when he hit his rock bottom. And he, at that point, vowed to become a better person and do the other thing that he was good at. He was good at selling drugs, but he was also very good at basketball. And he vowed to himself that when he got out, he would pursue that basketball career. And when he did get out, he avoided the corners, he avoided selling drugs. That meant getting a job at Burger King. And, you know, his friends would laugh at him.
Of course.
Like, they're making a ton of money selling drugs on the corner, and he's over here getting minimum wage, flinging hamburgers around, and it wasn't cool, right? But he kept to his dream, And he ended up playing in the NBA for a number of years, one of the great players during his generation. And it's a real great example of when you want something bad enough, when you do hit rock bottom, you do find a way to change and to go in a different direction for the better. But here's my question to you that whole story sets up. What about when you don't hit rock bottom? Right. A lot of people don't ever have that. Most people don't go to prison. Maybe, they're just living their life and kind of meandering along on autopilot. What do you do if you're one of those folks? You just end up staying in that rut.
Well, you have to be conscious, right, of your life and what it's like. Again, talked before about the comfort of that life because it's known. But at some point in time, we're all here to give our talents to the world, right? That's why we're placed in this planet, and to be conscious of that, to be conscious of the autopilot mode that I've been existing in, we have been existing in, to see it and to know that there's something better for me. Just that feeling like there's something better for me. It's just actually acknowledging the fact that there's something better for me. Can take you to the point that you start to dive into the subject matter of, okay, what is that? Okay, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Let me try this, let me try that. Yeah, so you don't have to have a catastrophe happen to you. You can make a change in your life, no matter what it is, whether it's career, personal relationships, whatever it might be. You can do it if you're conscious and you're aware of your personal situation and you want it to be better.
Right. I think it's almost two sides of the same coin. On one hand, we have to understand that we deserve to have that better life.
It's true.
And some people don't believe they deserve it, right? They think that they deserve to not be great, that they deserve to be kind of stuck in that rut that they're in. And the other hand of it is also, don't we kind of owe something to the greater power, or to our parents, to humanity, that to pull out from that rut and give the world our best self rather than our sort of just going through life like a zombie self?
Yes, because we're all part of the same spirit, the same cloth of humanity. Right. We are. And so, yeah, we owe it to everyone, and mostly to ourselves, to give it our best and to live our best life and to really discover what that could be for us and what we want it to be. And that's really it. People walk around in this zombie-like mode, as you said, unconscious mode, just wandering. Right. Why are they wandering? They're not conscious, and it's kind of comfortable. I mean, I'm putting food on the table, but they're not able to maximize why they're here.
Yeah. They're not living with joy.
No, because they've lost belief, whatever it might be. There's a lot of factors in that. Everyone's got their own personal set of circumstances. But I'm here to say, no matter where you are in life, you can change. And that generally starts with changing your perspective on what it can be like for you.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, so if you had to give somebody like one little simple thing that they can do to kind of redirect and get themselves on that path of change, what would you encourage somebody to do?
You can journal. You can have a little dream session of what that could look like, and just let it all go and just dream your dream life, and then journal about it. What that might look like. Write it down. There's power in writing the word, the written word, and if you do that, I think that can be the start
to kind of
different
motivate
path
you,
for you.
To motivate you to actually try and take the steps that will get you to that dream.
Correct.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, I think a lot of people, I think that's part of the reason they don't is there's the fear and all those other reasons why you don't, but also they just don't know how, right? They're like, okay, I kind of want to change, but I'm not really sure what to do.
First things first, you got to believe you can do it. You got to first imagine it, believe it can be done, write it out, and take small steps, right, along the journey. What's the Chinese proverb? A 1,000-mile journey starts with the first step. Right. And the first step is the imagination, the dream. The second step could be writing it out. And the third step can flow from there, and the fourth step, and the fifth, and the 100, and the 1,000th step, which gets you to the life you were designed to have.
I love that way of looking at it. I just recently tore my Achilles tendon, and I want to get back out and play. Well, it's a process. Now I'm walking without a limp, but before I could walk without a limp, I had to do certain exercises. Now I'm walking without a limp, but I'm not running, so I got to do more exercises. And it's a day by day by day process. And although I have the vision of being out on the field and playing and enjoying what I enjoy, playing soccer, I also have to understand that that's not happening tomorrow, and I have to be okay with that and patient with it and take that today's step and be good with today's step, knowing that I'm really not going to see any difference today. I'll see it in 2 weeks. But you just have to take that step.
Yeah, and life is a process. Life is a journey. Are you smiling throughout this?
Sometimes. That's my physical therapist.
You should be smiling.
You know what, Paul? It's a grind.
Oh, no. No. Are you really gonna throw that word out at me?
I just said that just to mess with you.
You just want to mess with me?
I'm messing with you.
Are you in that kind of...
Paul hates the word grind.
You got an attitude today.
You woke
up with an attitude?
I did. I woke up with an attitude.
Because you know that word, I deleted that word from my vocabulary. Right. It doesn't exist. But it's used very cavalierly today for everything. Right. Oh, I'm grinding. I'm just the grind. I'm just the... Grind is not a nice word. Okay, and I know you have a different perspective on it. We could do a whole podcast just on this
we will.
word.
We're gonna have a grind podcast. No, and here's the honest truth. There are times, many times, when I'm in physical therapy or I'm doing my exercise, I'm not happy doing it. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. It hurts. It's making me tired. I get a little. I don't get cranky, but I'm not enjoying it always. But I do it because I know if I do it, then I can get to the thing that I want to do, that I will enjoy doing. So we do have to make those necessary sacrifices in our life sometimes. It's not all, we've talked about this. You loved playing football. You loved being a quarterback. You were born in many ways to be a quarterback. It's really what you wanted. Correct. You did not like 2 days in 100-degree weather in Ohio, right? No, so you do those things that you have to do. Right. But, there's my opinion on grinding. You grind out the things that you don't like so that you can have the things you do like, and those things you do like, you have that eye on the prize, and you know that if I get up and do those 2 days in 100-degree weather, I'm gonna get to play quarterback.
I think the Dalai Lama said something like, you should live every day like it's the last day of your life, right? And that's how it can change your perspective on living. Because most people don't. There's Groundhog Day. It's the next day, it's the next day, next day I go to rehab, next day, go to work and TGIF and all this other stuff that we know about. But if we viewed life like that, I think we would smile more. I think we would have a different perspective. And I think we would be able to get through, rehab or whatever might be uncomfortable for you in a much more uplifting manner.
That's a great way of looking at it, because then at that point, especially again, back to the topic of change is possible, if we knew that we had a finite period of time, which we obviously all do, we might want to start taking that finite period of time a little bit more seriously and really diving into those things that we want from life rather than just putting it off for another day.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
This is the part where we're supposed to tell people to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Okay, will you please do that then? I mean, if you enjoy it, please do.
And if you don't, do it anyways, because we need your help.
We do.
Also, we have a website called GameChangeNation.com. Just go there and subscribe and you'll get tons of free content.
And what we're really trying to do is create a community of people that love sports.
Yep.
And the great lessons that we learn from sports, but we want to hear from you.
We do. So we're going to have a bunch of social media pages, from TikTok to Instagram to Twitter to Facebook. Instagram, I probably already said all of them. Please join them and tell us your stories. We'd love to hear from you. Oh, and we wrote a book.
Oh,
forgot about that.
Forgot that.
The book is called Through the Tunnel. It's available on Amazon now. If you go straight down here to this link that you can see below us, you will be able to purchase it. We'd love it if you could do it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.